Hello, my name is Miss Sasha. I am a teaching artist in the PACE Arts program through the Acadiana Center for the Arts with the Lafayette Parish school system in Lafayette, Louisiana. Today we are going to draw Monet's Japanese bridge. We'll use Claude Monet as our inspiration and recreate one of his famous pieces of art. The supply list is super easy. It's a white piece of paper and a variety of crayons. We will be drawing a pond, so you might want to have some blue. So let's go ahead and get started. Claude Monet is a famous French painter. He's known for his impressionistic style of painting, or impressionism. It's generally small, thin, visible brush strokes. The artist creates an image as someone would see it if they had just caught a glimpse of it. So there's lots of nice colors, and the paintings are usually done in an outdoor landscape type of scene. Claude Monet, this is a picture of Claude Monet. He was born in Paris in 1840. In school, he used to draw characters of his teachers, and characters is a type of painting where some of the facial features are made to look funny, kind of like a comic drawing. So he was quite a character in class. So this is a real photograph of Monet's Japanese bridge in his backyard. He had a large piece of property and a beautiful big old house, and in the back he had lots of foliage and things to paint. So something to know about Claude Monet is that he did paint this bridge over and over and over again at many different times of the day, different seasons, so it was never the same. So summer, spring, winter, fall, sunshine, rain, sleet, snow, morning, noon, and night. He would just paint this bridge over and over and over again, and in all the different seasons and stuff, it just never looked the same. And it's also good to practice repainting something, because you just get better at it, right? So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and get a blue, any shade of blue, light blue, dark blue, turquoise, any shade of blue will do. So I'm going to make a horizon line somewhere in the middle of my page. As you can see, this one's done in the center. We're going to go across. It doesn't have to be completely straight, just as long as it goes from edge to edge. So here's my center. Sometimes you can even put a little dot if you're not sure. Two little dots. It gives you a little marker to go to, and then you can just kind of go straight across. Now look, mine's not completely straight, but neither is the edge of a pond, so you're good. We're going to add a few little pieces of land in our picture. As you can see, there's a little bit of land here, some over here. I did the land on this side, so this time I'll go ahead and put it over here. It's just kind of in the corner. If you want to have more than one, then go ahead and add more than one little piece of land. I might go over this one more time just to make it real clear. Alrighty. So let's go ahead, since we're already using the blue, we're going to add some little lily pads. Look, this is one of his paintings where it was just more of a close-up of the lily pads, and his pond, I guess in this season, which is probably spring or summer, there's tons of lily pads that are covering up his little pond. So the other thing to know about the lily pads is that the ones that are closer to us or at the bottom of the picture are going to be larger, and as they get closer to the horizon line, they're going to be smaller. That kind of shows perspective, which makes the painting look even more realistic. And we're going to use blue, so when we color it in green, we can still see the little lines on the lily pads. And lily pads are like water flowers. Okay, so you can do them in ovals, and you can even do some that have like a little slice taken out of them. They like to kind of cluster together Their stem is really underneath the water, and it attaches to the bottom of the pond. So they don't just free float everywhere. They're kind of attached. So as I get farther away, I'm going to go ahead and just show you. As I get farther away, they get smaller. So you see how it starts to look like the pond is getting farther and farther away. So I'm going to use these as my guide. And I'll go ahead and make some more that are this size. And then some more that are this size. Clustered together. Farther in the back. You can make as many as you want. Maybe you have a bunch clustered far away. Pretty good. And then you can go back on the ones that are bigger and make some leaf lines, veins that are on most leaves. That just helps to, soak up the sun and, distribute the minerals and the nutrients and the water throughout the plant. So you can just kind of do a little dot. It almost looks like little beach balls. And they go around like this. I'm going to do it on my bigger ones. My smaller ones, they're just far away, right? You can't see them as good. But if you want to, you can just put a little something on there if you like. Oh, I'm going to do a few lily pads that might be kind of floating off the edge of the page like this. Look, little bitty. Maybe some bigger ones. When you have things go off the page, just kind of leave something to the imagination. All right. So I did them in blue again, so whenever we color them in green, we can still see the little leaf lines. Let's go ahead and use the blue to gently and carefully color around your lily pad. So I'm not going to do my water super dark, and I'm just going to kind of wiggle it around my little lily pad. If you get some on your lily pads, that's fine. You can also add in another blue if you'd like. You can make it darker in some spots to make it look like it's maybe deeper or have more grass in it. I'm just kind of wiggling my crayon across the paper. Maybe in the distance it looks a little bit darker because kind of farther in the back it might get a little darker. Maybe there's more plants growing there. See that? And then I think I'm going to add in another blue just to give it a little special touch. Let's see, here it is, a little bit darker. Right, we're trying to make it look like Claude Monet's style of painting, his impressionism, like a little glimpse of what you see in real life, right? So if you were just to glance at it quickly. So this one's going to look a little bit different than this one. I always like to change it up a little bit, give you a few little options, some things to think about. Maybe it's darker in the little slices or in between the little lily pads, little shadows. Okay, and the other thing that I added with the blue is like these little circle splashes, as if like a frog had jumped off of the lily pad, and they're just kind of like little swirls around some of the lily pads. Can you see that? I'll draw a bigger one on this little paper. I'm kind of just going, if this is my lily pad, I'm kind of just going around next to it. Little swirl. Okay? Let's see. Add a little bit more. You can always go back and add more if you see that you need to add a little bit of detail in some spots, right? That looks pretty good. Our pond looks awesome. Look how good. So real quick, Monet is most well known for a series of paintings of his water lilies, and he also painted some landscapes in lots of seasons, but his paintings would sell for tens of millions of dollars. He produced more than 1,000 individual paintings in his career, but the Japanese bridge was one of his most famous. He painted the bridge over his pond in with 18 different canvases, but he only exhibited 12 of them. So out of the 18 that he chose, only 12 were exhibited at a museum. That is his most famous painting, is this guy right here, in several different styles. So sometimes they'd be long and horizontal. Maybe they'd be, more square. Different seasons like we determined earlier. So let's go ahead and add some grasses to our little spaces right here. I did not completely color this in, but I think I'll take this time a little crayon and maybe do it with a light green and then come back with a dark green. If all you have is one or the other, that's fine. Watch. Green, green, because you can see how green and lush it is, all the different trees and stuff he has in the background. So after I did it with the light green, I was going to come back with a darker green. Let's see. This one's dark, but I might have a darker one. Here we go. Here we go. Watch. And with that, I'm going to make some zigzags that kind of stick off the edge of the water. Some of them will be taller. See? And some can be tall down here. Right? Because I'm putting some tall ones so I can make some cattails or some purple irises or things that just might need a little longer of a stem. You can do that in the water too, right by the lily pads. And over here as well. You see how our garden is starting to fill up? And the other thing is we're going to go ahead and do grasses all the way across the horizon line. You can do both green, light green and dark green. Remember, these are a little bit smaller because they're farther in the back, so they won't be as tall as these guys. Zigzags. Again, if you want to add some extra green. Here and there, everywhere. And then keep your greens because we have yet to color in our lily pads. When you do color in your lily pads, don't color in really hard. We don't want to lose the lines that we have. So you can go really lightly over them, or you can even use a lighter green if you want, or a little bit of both. Right? Not all lily pads are the same color. This light green really keeps those the lines showing. Even the little ones in the back. You can always go back with a darker green again and add more shadows if you'd like. That looks really good. You see where we need any more green? Okay, so let's add a few trees. Some the trunk and the branches. Don't go in the middle. Let's keep our trees to the edges, the right and the left side, and not in the center, because we're going to add our bridge in the very middle. So these trees are in the way background. Look at all the trees he has. A lot of weeping willows, a lot of tall evergreen trees, big bushy trees. So all I did was just kind of start making a branches that kind of will hang over my bridge like this. So big branches, little branches. You can make a thicker trunk if you'd like. Maybe this one will be more of a weeping willow. And a weeping willow is just a tree whose branches kind of go down instead of up and out. So maybe this is my branches for my weeping willow. They come down. We'll add the green to them in a minute. This is actually a weeping willow right here. And a lot of these are vines that go across the bridge too. There was a little top to the bridge it would go across. Okay. How's that look? Oh, good. Let's go back to our greens. On this one, we can do more of like curly scribbles. Watch. See? I'm just going around and around. And again, we can even add more than one green if you think it needs it. And then on our weeping willow, it's kind of all along the branches. It kind of goes down the branches like this. And let's see, maybe another light green. How's that? It does look different from this one. But again, options. Options are good. All right. Let's add some cattails to our pond. Cattails are like flowerless plants. The flowers are in those little cones that look kind of like corn dogs. And then when they dry out, you can crack that little cone open and all the little seeds in there will catch in the wind and kind of float around and then plant themselves in new spots. So they don't have bright, beautiful flowers like you would think. Their flower is the little brown hot dog on the end. So all I did was just kind of color in some little ovals here and there in my pond. And back, way in the back, I could put some little tiny ones. Remember, it's the farther back it goes, the smaller things get, right? Because they're farther and farther away. Now, I'm not going to put cattails on all of them because I want to save some for some purple irises and some other flowers. All right. Did you get your cattails in? While you're working your cattails in, I'll give you a few more Claude Monet facts. Claude Monet's dad was a grocer and his mom was a singer. But Claude Monet wanted to be a painter, an artist, and he was mentored by another famous artist named Eugene Boden, who would paint outdoors, lots of landscapes, and he taught Monet how to paint with oils and paint outside. A lot of famous artists were friends with other famous artists in those times. Again, Claude Monet painted all the time. That was his passion. That's what he loved to do. But something sad started to happen to Claude Monet as he got older. And for a painter, this could become quite devastating. And that was that he started to develop cataracts on his eyes, which was causing him to go blind. So he had a few surgeries in order to fix it. And sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't. The strange thing is that his paintings before his surgeries had a lot more red in them. And then after the operation, what he could see changed a little bit. So, but even though Claude Monet was starting to become blind, he still painted what he could see. And what he could see just became more and more blurry. So sometimes if you squint your eyes, you see things in more of a blurry way. So he would paint what he would see even though it was still blurry. And people still loved his paintings. And he still would paint because, again, that was his passion. That's what he loved to do. And so he didn't let anything stop him. He just kept on going forward with painting. All right, let's add a few purple irises or whatever color you want. I like purple. So, and my irises are kind of like an oval and an oval and an oval. So I'm going to put them on some of these tall stems that I have. And then, of course, I'm going to put some in the back. And they're just going to be smaller, like we keep saying. It's farther away, so they're going to be a lot smaller. They're little. Okay, how's it looking? So is your garden getting fuller? Okay, here we go. Pretty much you can take any color that you would like and start adding some flowers. Let's start by putting some on our lily pad. It's kind of like the letter U and then a letter V. Can you see that? And then you kind of color it on in, right? A U and a V, and then you color it in. A U and a V. If they're smaller, they're going to get farther away. And you can always come back with another color and add some pollen if you'd like. What? I even take any color and just put some little colorful X's, filling up my garden with beautiful colors. Little X's are great. And I haven't used any orange, so I might come back and put some orange circles. Right? Look. It's just filling up my garden with colors. All the colors. How about some pink? Ooh, you can't really see that. I'll add some more purple. If white could show up, we'd add that. Even yellow. Yellow in the background. Sometimes I just do like some little scribbles as if it was just a bunch of little flowers together. Great. Now, let's go ahead and take our green. Look, this green is just a little green. I'm going to pinch it, and I'm going to fill my sky with just a little bit of greenery, just so it's not so white. I'll go over my trees and across the edge. And that way, I have my background's not just plain white paper. Now we can add our bridge. An important thing to know is that in Claude Monet's yard, when he bought his big house, he actually designed and built and landscaped his entire backyard, from the bridge to the pond, to the shape of the pond, to the water lilies and all the other things that he planted in his yard, just so he could have an amazing spot to do these paintings. So we're going to add our bridge, kind of like this guy. It's going to go from more of a curve. You can make yours wider if you'd like. So I'm going to start out with this little curve line. I'm going to go from my horizon line to the horizon line with the brown. I'm just going to go right over my plants. It's okay. I'm going to go over it a few times, make it nice and dark, and I'm going to do the same thing again, right over it. Watch. Right over the top, go over it a few times. It's kind of like this, 1, 2, 3. One of them is the bottom, one of them is the top, and one of them is the handrail. Okay, and then one more. Okay. Got it? It's okay if it's not perfect. Look, this one's a lot skinnier than this one. Either way is fine. And we're going to put the little cross pieces so you don't fall off the bridge. They go all the way. Okay. If you need to go over it again to make it a little bit darker, go right ahead. Okay. Got it? And I think something really important to add is the reflection of the bridge in the pond. I really like that. So when I go to make it, I'm just going to pretend like I'm flipping this bridge over, and I'm going to draw the same thing underneath. I'm going to try not to go over my flowers, but if I do, that's not a big deal. A reflection is, have you seen your face whenever you look into the water? You can see your reflection. It's like what you see in a mirror when you are brushing your teeth in the morning. Okay, So let's go ahead and add our little bridge. So I'm going to do this one first. I'm going to try to keep it the same distance, watch. And it's just a light drawing, you barely see it. So maybe you do it lightly and then you go back and you add a little bit more. Okay. Ready for the second one? So I'm going to go from this one to this one and I'm going to stay underneath, watch. How's that? And I have one more. Watch. Here. Like that. And now we have to do the rails as well. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see if I can do 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. There, I have my reflection. You should really go check out some of Claude Monet's other paintings. He does other things as well besides landscapes. He does people, he does fields, he does buildings. He does some really nice things. There's also a few self-portraits that he's done of himself. You can look that up online. Thank you so much for drawing Monet's bridge with me. We'll be posting a new lesson every day at 10 a.m. on the Acadiana Center for the Arts YouTube channel for kindergarten, first, and second grades, each tied to the academic curriculum. You can also get these lessons on AOC as part of the Learn United program, accessible on AOC on Cox Channel 16 or LUS Channel 4. Kindergarten lessons air at 8 a.m. and first and second grades at 9. Some lessons will be in visual arts and some in creative movement. So be sure to come back and make art with us tomorrow. If you're interested in supporting programs like this, visit Acadiana Center for the Arts.org, the nonprofit who manages the PACE program. Spread the word, share our videos, and keep making art.